I guess we're just gonna spend a couple of minutes taking everybody in
Okay.
for the time being.
Okay.
So, yeah, in the meantime, yeah. Hi, Kathy.
Hey.
Hi, Kathy. How are you?
Hi, good, good.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, I see some friends here.
Oh, good. Yeah, it looks like we have Annie. I'll unmute her too.
Can you see me?
Oh, yeah. Hey, Midge.
Hi.
Hi, Vicky.
This is
What?
Are you doing it on yours? or-
No,
No.
I'm looking at something else.
Oh,
There we
great.
go. Hi, Kathy. Now I can talk. Yeah. Hi, Pranay. Yeah.
Hi.
Okay.
Hi. Yeah, I got it. I'm just too tired to do anything but watch tonight. So I put my photo face up there instead.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought you could throw your voice.
Yeah.
Hey, Adam. Looks
Hi.
like Adam's connecting, and Adam, I actually am. You're my first artist. Hi, Velda.
Hi, Velda.
Hi, Adam.
Nice room
Hi,
color.
Ann. Hi.
What's Ann? Hi, Ann. How are you?
Hi. Hi, Karen.
I'm gonna do one.
Hi, Ann.
This is our first ever Zoom live reception of our event, so it's kind of neat to do our opening this way and kind of use this technology to connect, and we'll just see how it goes. I kind of structured this next few minutes just to do an artist Q&A, and I have kind of an order. And so what I'll do is I'll just start with Adam. And I'll share my screen as we go along, and I've got some of the artworks in the exhibit that will be on this slideshow. And I will go ahead and start. And
Delicious.
go.
Yeah.
All right, Adam.
Wow.
I just wanted to kind of ask about what inspired this piece. It's called Anthropocene Stairway.
Well, it's interesting. As I gather inspiration from wherever I am, I keep a sketchbook with me. So I was in a residency in 2018 in Montemuro, Italy, which is like a small hilltop town, exactly what you'd imagine, you know, in a tour guide or Frodor's global travel guide. And it's this little mountain town. We had a residency place that was halfway down an ancient staircase. So I got my sketchbook out and I sketched on the right. You'll see, actually, these are backwards, but that's okay. On the right, you'll see the stairway going up. And on the right, on the left, you'll see the stairway going down. So I do these sketches and I just file them away. They're my kind of field notes. So I was thinking about man's pathway to the skies and his achievements that are possible. So on the right, which should be on the left, you have a potential stairway up to the heavens. And this also talks about different forms of operations that are going on concurrently, but I won't get into that. An effort to control weather, which influences politics, influences people. So this is the right-hand panel on this setup. So it's our potential to reach the skies. And on the left, we have a stairway going down, which is perhaps even a haphazard or byproduct sometimes of human striving for godlike power, which can also lead to the downside, which is destruction. So to every action, there's a reaction. And if we look at nature, we see always a balancing force. So for us to think, us as human beings to think, there may not be a downside to our striving for control over the planet systems. We are, in essence, thinking we are above and beyond natural processes. So I wanted to talk about all our potential for achievement, and also perhaps a byproduct of that sometimes an unforeseen destruction. So that's where I'm at with this. And of course, I love my media. So I've got tar in there, I've got sand, pencil. So I've never done pencil on aluminum before, but in order to do that, I have to lay down a ground of oil paint. This is for you art aficionados out there. So yeah, it's also enjoying just the process. So nothing I do and nowhere I go is ever wasted. I know that might sound trite, but you know, we might look at something and go, oh yeah, that's really cool, but I'll draw it. So it'll be like a tool I can use later. I hope that answers somewhat the questions. How was that, Anne? And I didn't shout either. Anybody have any questions? Is that good, Pranay? Does that sort of ballpark it?
Yeah, it's pretty good. A lot of people asked about the metal backing and what that was.
Okay, so I'll go back. I'll keep it brief because I know there's a lot of people who want to talk. In about 2012, thereabouts, I was going through my old print plates from Art Center when I took a class under Tony Zepeda, the great print master from Gel Gemini. And I really loved the look of these aluminum plates with the negative more than I liked the prints that came off it. So I was looking at those things and I go, you know, this is really interesting. Maybe I can use this in my art. I'm always looking for, if you ask most artists, right, why did you do this? Well, because I wanted to do something fun. So I had worked on wood for ages and I thought, you know what, I want to be challenged with my surface. And I'd also seen Manet's picture of the tramp in the Norton Simon, which is a beautiful painting by him, Manet, not Monet. And it looks like he spent a lot of time making a gray background. So I thought, why spend all that time making this neutral background when I can actually like work on aluminum, and the background works with whatever environment it's in too. So it reflects the ambient light of the source around it. So it always fits. It's a very strange and wonderful surface to work on. So I'm continuing to work on aluminum a lot.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, Adam.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I just want to kind of give just a brief recap of what's going on. This is the Lydia Takeshita Legacy Exhibit Series. It's the first exhibit in a series of 7 exhibits. And yeah, we're just, Lydia, as a lot of us know here, as you may know, ran this organization for 40 years, and she scheduled a lot of artists through next year. And she passed last year, and we're honoring Lydia with a series of exhibits that will both honor her past commitments to artists as well as bring in some new artists into the community and just kind of grow this community organically. And it's a especially unique circumstance with the COVID situation. So we're just kind of I think we're all improvising really well, and we're doing it together, and we're doing it the best we can. And I'm glad that you guys are joining us today. The next artist is Renée, but I don't think Renée is maybe with us right now, so we'll maybe circle back to her. I'd like to introduce Nancy Uyemura, and it's been a real pleasure to work with Nancy. This is I'll kind of play a couple of her works. Nancy, I'd like to ask you a question. It seems the strongest impression of your work, well, there are a lot of strong impressions on your work that your work gives us. And I wondered, I was struck by how there's a sense of trying a lot of different things. And there's a sense of experimentation in your work. And I just wondered where this kind of began for you. Oh, and I think I'll ask to unmute you there, and hopefully. All right, can you hear us, Nancy?
Hi, Nancy.
Hi.
I haven't seen you in a while. How are you?
Okay.
Good.
There, yeah. Okay, so Pranay, you want me to talk about experimentation?
Yeah, and just where that started and how that started.
I think I've always been like that. It's funny as I look back, because these are all really old pieces. And I think because I've been moving around so much, not exactly by choice, but I had a lot of work actually from a period of maybe as long as Lydia did Artcore, it's like the last 40 years, maybe longer. So I think some artists get into a mode that they like, that they're successful in, and they sort of develop it. And I sort of jumped around a lot. So maybe that's what you're seeing in experimenting. But because the work is done over decades, it's not as experimental as it might seem with the work that's shown here. But I think I always like to do new things. And life is always changing, and especially, well, now it's really in your face. But I think at all stages of one's life, you're changing all the time. And my work has been about change and transitioning, time and space, and just the changes that nature goes through, that people in their lives and personalities, and just through the ages, we're changing all the time. And so that was sort of what the work was about. And it was about the work at the time. That's where I was at the moment. So it's like this piece is Haru no Tegami, which literally it's a spring letter. It's like spring note, I think was written as the title, but it's it could be a letter to spring, or it could be a letter that's written about or during spring. I used mixed media, a lot of Japanese papers and foils and iridescent paints. And it is very poetic. I think a lot of my work had some poetic structure to it. There was a poem behind it. So I think poetry is such a great way to express oneself when you can't find the words, or you just can't even find the feelings, you express it in a poem or in a painting or in some music, in some art form. So that's really about what my work is about. I don't know if that answered your question, but.
No, that was a really great answer. And yeah, I just wonder how, you know, who, I would say it because I find your paintings incredibly inspiring, just in what they kind of accomplish, which is a sense of agency, a sense of kind of claiming painting for oneself. And I just wonder, who are your early influences and who influenced you to paint?
You know, I started out in ceramics, actually. I started out doing a lot of ceramics. And then I went to Japan because I wanted to study Japanese ceramics, and I had the opportunity to do that. And then when I came back to Los Angeles, I studied painting at Otis with Matsumi Kanemitsu. And he influenced my art, my painting a lot, really. And probably the reason that I'm still around making some work, although I'm not making a lot right now, but he influenced my painting.
Thank you, Nancy.
Sure.
Thank you, Nancy.
If anybody wants to ask Nancy, this would be a good time. And then I think Renee, we have Renee here.
I saw her.
So let me see. Hi, Renee. I'm gonna ask to unmute you, and I think you'll just click to unmute yourself. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Renee, can you hear me? Oh, okay. So your audio is muted. So do you want to turn on your audio?
There should be a little button there that says unmute, the bottom of the screen.
Is it okay now?
There it is.
Oh, there we go.
Excellent.
We got you. All right. Renee, thanks for coming in and being a part of this exhibition too. It's been really a pleasure to have you at this exhibit, and I think you exhibit the real art spirit, and I really enjoy your enthusiasm. And I just wanted to ask you, you've done a lot of new works that I had never seen in that you work with layers of silk. One is in the foreground and one is in the background right there. And I just wondered how that came about as a departure from painting.
A completely new work. It is from in the time of the, that we were close at home, and in the beginning of this difficult time, I started to paint, but I could not paint on canvas. I could not paint as usual. So I started to paint on fabric, on organza, because it was airy. It was not solid. It was maybe something only for now that is going to move, that it is going to go away. So I started to paint, and I did a lot of this painting on organza. It was new for me to paint oil and use only oil on fabric. But I wanted to do this kind of manners, something who came from the sky to the earth, because of this period so tragic that we were living on. So it was important for me to do that. So in the beginning, I did some shapes and some colors who looks like the corona, and they were strong and dolorous. And after I thought that they were too strong, so I tried to put other layers of plant and leaves, something who will be more maybe better for our life and going back to the nature. So it is this kind of conflict between these hard shapes like the corona and the flowing shapes of the plants and the leaves, and this was the work that I did, and it is absolutely new. I never did such a thing. And I wanted that it is very vaporous, that it will not stay here, that it will be floating, that it will go away, that the corona will go away and leave us only with the nature and with the green and the blue sky and green nature. This was my expression of these paintings.
Great. Très bon. Très belle.
Thank you. Thanks, Renee.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
So I'm sorry, I think I missed, what is the medium on there? Is that?
It is oil with
Really?
turpentine on organza. Organza, it is a kind of a silk.
Oh, because to me, they're very powerful and very spiritual at the same time. They just, that's what I feel is the essence of them.
It is what I was feeling at this time, with all these months that we were confined. And after we got used, but
Yeah,
in this terrible time.
really beautiful.
Great. Yes.
Have you worked with organza before?
No, I never worked on organza. I never worked on silk. I always painted on canvas or on earth or on cement, but never on silk. No. It was something very, very new for me.
So, cool.
And I was very scared because everybody told me that you cannot use turpentine on silk, but I used turpentine, a kind of a turpentine, and I use all my normal oil color because first I could not go to, people told me to go to buy, some very special kind of oil and special kind of, but first I didn't have the money to do it. And also I could not go out and go to find out. So I used what I had at home. And I had at home some kind of organza for curtains that I had in my house, and I used them.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you, Renee.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renee.
Appreciate it. All right. Our next artist is Velda Ishizaki. Hi, Velda.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Good. So,
Great.
well,
I was just gonna ask you, you've had a very productive year. It seems like you really took this year onto your own and the result is all of your paintings. How would you describe your process?
how would I describe my process? Well, the process switched in the middle of these 19 paintings. First, I drew shapes, the sticks and the circles, and then I painted the backgrounds. And then a friend of mine said, well, why don't you switch it and paint the backgrounds first and then the shapes. So I did that. This one, let's see, I don't know which number it is. This one looks like I painted the background first and then the shapes. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see my face, but I'm in a red room. So I like color. And that's what motivates me to do colors, and I like shapes and depths. So hopefully, not especially in this one, but in other paintings, there's a lot of depth. And so that's
Long hair is where I like pain.
that's what I do.
I don't know.
So
Productive, Velda. Nice.
yes. Yesterday I painted 4 paintings. There were like I don't know, 20 by 15 pieces of paper. So I just keep going and going.
Good.
Good job, Velda.
Thank you.
Awesome.
This one I painted the background first. This was and then the shapes. Oh, I just had a lot of fun.
They're pretty energetic. They create a lot of movement in the painting. We can feel it.
Thank you. I like movement and I like depth. So that's what I did.
Movement while we're all sitting at home, right?
Yeah.
Very good. Nice one, Velda. Wow. Crazy. I saw your work, obviously at the gallery. Beautiful.
Uh-huh.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Adam.
You're welcome.
I like your piece too.
Thank you.
I especially like the dirt on it.
Oh, of course. Yeah. All different stuff. Anyways, we're talking about
Nice
you.
contrast with the metal.
Right. Thank you. We're having our own dialogue here. Zoom _us. These are nice though. Yeah. Energy when there's a low energy. It's very good.
Well, we will look forward to seeing what you are up to now, Velda.
Oh, it's different.
I would expect no less.
But it's fun. What a way to spend the day.
Exactly.
That's great.
Good.
Thanks, Velda.
You're
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody, welcome new people who are joining in. Thanks for joining in, and just let you guys know that this is the Lydia Takeshita Legacy Exhibit Series #1, and it's our first in about 7 exhibits that we'll go through next summer. And it's been really interesting to put these together during this COVID time, and also kind of build a continuity between our Lydia's legacy and kind of where we're headed. So it's a very organic process, and I know there's a lot of artists in here, and we're pretty open to just inviting you all to just reach out and schedule a studio visit, or just say hi, or even if you're in LA, make an appointment and come by. So with that, our next artist is Midge Lynn. Midge Lynn, I had the pleasure of just stumbling across her works on Instagram, and I think that's how we kind of started our conversation. And Midge, you're in Texas, and we all say hi to you from Texas. And
Howdy.
And you just so happened that you had a piece here in LA that we were able to get over to the gallery, and it ended up working into the show really great. And I think it encompasses some of the kind of more compelling elements in your work, which is that you you select imagery and then you combine this imagery and then you kind of work this imagery together in this painting process. And I just wondered how, what is your selection process and how do you decide what ends up going together?
Well, I work very intuitively. For example, in this painting, I had taken a photograph of the girl years ago, many years ago, and it was just there, I had it, and it was always in my mind. And I started thinking about it, and then I actually found this frame, and I just could visualize the image in the frame. And then it came into my mind, the birds. And I've been painting a lot of birds lately. And I want to read something to you. It says, in general, birds symbolize freedom because they have the ability and the freedom to roam the earth and fly in the skies. When birds are seen in dreams, they are good omens: life, rebirth, intelligence, peace, hope, love, and so much more. So
Freedom.
To me, there's kind of a dreamy quality about what I saw in this girl. And you know, it's kind of ephemeral, and she is kind of in almost like a dream world. And you know, human beings kind of get lost in their intellectual thoughts, and birds kind of go about their life to survive, and they're more on a natural level where they're just surviving, and they're spiritual in their own way, and they kind of serve as metaphors for us. And so I just kind of they just kind of went together in my mind. And I mean, that's basically how it came out. And she was already sitting on a pipe. And so I just kind of went with it. And it's oil on wood.
This painting I need to get rid of.
What?
Where did you find the frame? You said you found it?
You know, it was really strange because a friend of mine was having a garage sale, and it was supposed to be a frame for a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, I have to have that. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And then I thought of this image, and I actually had the wood was cut. I had that specifically cut to fit in the frame.
Right.
And then I painted the image.
Wow.
So it was just, there's kind of happenstance, you know, I kind of work that way. So, and I kind of go with my intuition.
Providence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I walk around the gallery, this painting attract me right away.
Oh, thank you.
The shape and everything. When I squint my eye, I see a dog inside because the two birds look like the eye of the dog.
I just love birds. Actually, I'm doing a painting now that has like 30 birds on it. But yeah, to me, they symbolize so much.
So looking forward to see more of your painting in the future.
Oh, thank you.
There's a famous motif from China. Don't quote me exactly on this, but you'll see it often. It's the 101 birds. And it's there's a restaurant in Chinatown called Hop Lee.
Oh, yes.
You know Hop Lee? Anybody there?
Oh, yes. Well, a favorite.
My favorite too. There's a big carved relief painting as you go in, which is the 101 birds, and it's about luck and providence, like you're talking about, Midge. So you might check that out too. Chinese proverb, 101 birds. I think it's 101. That could be Dalmatians. I can't remember. But yeah, check it out. Check it out. Cool.
Okay, great.
Nice work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Midge. I hope we can meet when this lockdown is over. And
yeah, I wish I could see the show in person. I love the fact that there's a wide range of styles, and it just looks like a wonderful show. So
Pranay hung it well also.
yeah.
He always does.
you guys.
Always blushing.
Appreciate that. All right, I think, Mike, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Mike, hey, Mike.
Can you see me okay?
Hey, Mike.
Yeah,
All right.
Hi, Edem.
yeah. Hey,
Hey.
Mike.
Hey, so, okay.
I
So
have a
should I just
question.
start talking about it, or is there?
I had a question, and yeah, maybe that could be a prompt. Let's see here. A lot of your works utilize text in some way or another as a backdrop to the images printed on them. How would you characterize the relationship between text and image in your work?
Well, they vary depending on the piece, and I mean, in this case, it's printed on a Catholic prayer book, and and it was like a pocket-sized Catholic prayer book with all the pages in there, and with some illustrations of Jesus, and I had talked to well, this is a portrait of a friend's grandmother whose mother had saved my life when I was living in Lincoln Heights. I had been misdiagnosed with gastritis. They told me I had gastritis, but it was an appendix rupture.
Oh.
And my lips, or my tongue was turning green. And she told me I got to go to the Mexican doctor because USC was telling me it was something else. And so when I went to the Mexican doctor, they said, oh, you got to go to the hospital right now because I think it's going to rupture. So she took me over there, and while I was there, was able to kind of take care of the building. It was like an Oddfellow Hall in Lincoln Heights, this gigantic studio space that where there was a lot of creative people running around and band members, and there was like a party, and it just got like out of control, and stuff got stolen. Some of my artwork got stolen, but she was able to come down and restore order at the place and kick everybody out, and was really took care of business. And so so we kept in touch, and I really wanted to make a piece for her and her family. So this is one of the works that or this is the I made like 3 of these, a series for their family. And the color is oil stick. That was I don't usually use color, but I just wanted to try this out, and it seemed to work quite well. And so I think I want to continue using some oil stick here. And yeah,
It's beautiful.
Is that a photographic process or a drawing? I can't tell.
yeah, it's it was a really degraded image from the start that I had enlarged to about 48 inches or somewhere around there, and on an oversized Xerox copy machine, and then cut them up into a grid and cut it up so that section by section they're Xerox copied onto pages of the book. So it's like an overlay of information. And so in this case, this is their belief system. This is what they believe in, and I grew up as a Christian too. So it kind of made me, reflect on the times when I had thought about faith and spirituality and all these ideas, and even kind of reflecting on mysticism and early Christianity and the cloud of unknowing, and kind of all these sort of questions that come back. And so I've just been interested in thinking about some of those things and putting it into the work, I guess. So yeah.
Good work. I
The
like
flowers frame the image beautifully.
Thanks. Yeah, so yeah, it's just kind of first time adding silk flowers. I photographed silk flowers and arranged them in a way so that they kind of take that shape. And so the portrait was made first, and then the flowers were placed on top, and then photographed separately, and then printed again as a separate layer on top. So
Wow.
thanks. Okay. Any questions, or is this?
Are those real flowers?
No, there are silk
Photograph.
flowers that were
Oh.
photographed and then printed on there in black and white,
Oh,
then
wow.
with color to do the petals.
So pretty.
And so the petals were just kind of like rubbed in there with my thumb, you know, just kind of rubbed in,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with an oil stick. So I never use
Right.
oil, so I didn't know how to use it. I just rubbed it in. So
I love it.
But
It's nice.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, it's great to be a part of this show. It's fantastic to see the diversity of all the different visual languages happening in there. It's like,
Mhm.
so I really appreciate this this effort, Pranay, for putting all this together.
Yes.
Thanks for being a part of it. And thanks for I wanted to thank Mike for his help, his production help. He helped do a video for us. So he is always creating, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Anytime I can help to share the work that's taking place at the gallery, I think that would be, especially as we're trying to learn this online interfacing, exchange process. It's really interesting to explore the sort of limitations, but at the same time being able to communicate and share and be a part of this community and stay connected. So that's great. So thanks.
Right, there are a lot of upsides to this Zoom process.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you get to see my dirty apartment here. So
That's what it's all about.
okay.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
And Michael Chang, are you with us?
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, Michael. How's it going?
Good.
All right. I just wanted to introduce Michael Chang's works. They're photo transfers on paper, and they also have, is it acrylic paint, Michael?
Yeah, but I kind of water it down, so it's basically watercolor.
Okay. Yeah, and I just want to start, your works mix mass media produced images and your own, in a sense, locating the viewer both in a contemporary and historical context, and create continuity between the past and present representations of people's movements. Regarding your techniques, you were a student, I think, when you created these. Is that right? You were at USC?
I had just graduated, so I think it was like a couple months after, but yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did these pieces come about?
Well, it's kind of a while ago, I guess in my head, but because I don't really work this way anymore, but I'd say the best way to talk about these, I guess now with some distance, is they're just kind of a visual distillation of a lot of reading and research I was doing at the time about like periods of violence in Taiwan and China, and then all the history surrounding those times. So most of it happens between like the 20th century, but then I also included some of the like umbrella movement imagery from Hong Kong from like 2014 where I could. So I was just trying to, I think at the time I was just interested in revolution specifically, but also like the role of violence in it. And of course, like I was reading The Wretched of the Earth, so there's like a whole chunk of information I was processing that Fanon was talking about concerning violence. So that's kind of like all these different types of readings. And then from there, I was finding images that I could find. I mean, there's not a lot of images available, obviously, about a lot of these events, just because of like so many people were killed and also state censorship and all those things. So it was pretty tricky to kind of, I guess, think about like which images I wanted to use. And I didn't really want to be like super irresponsible necessarily with the images. So let me think. Yeah, I think that's kind of it.
It's very violent. Now I understand it though.
Yeah.
You love Rauschenberg?
Yeah, so Rauschenberg was like the artist I was like super into, like in this moment of time. So like when I was looking at his he was doing all of his image transfers too. I use a different technique than he did. Mine is a lot more, I guess, crude. I just print out a bunch of things on Xerox paper, and then I use what was it called? It's like an acrylic medium. It's almost like an adhesive, and then I like smooth the paper onto the adhesive, and then when I use water and I rub away the Xerox paper, and then kind of the image itself from the printer ink transfers onto the other surface. So
Wow. Wow.
I noticed that there's a lot of white light towards the middle of both your works. Does that represent something like hope or something? Is that intentional?
No, I think it's the gallery lighting, but Pranay did a really good job with these, because the reason you want to light it like that, so like the plexiglass reflection isn't too crazy, because usually when you see these, the reflection's pretty hard. So
Oh, it looks like white acrylic paint towards the middle of this painting. And then the one before that, it was yellow and white. So I thought it was like intentional, like represented hope or something.
Oh no, that's just like a formal, like aesthetic, intuitive thing. But yes,
I see.
there is white paint in the middle of both.
Right. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Hey, Michael, what are your thoughts about what's happening now in Taiwan and China relations? Like, it's kind of heightened, right? Like,
yeah, I think
tensions.
I think it's kind of hard for me to talk about this just because like I'm American, so, and being Asian American, there's like a certain way that I know I've been conditioned by like American education and like the news and media. And I'd say we're in this moment of like a Cold War moment, basically, between China and the United States. So that's why I'm also kind of like ambivalent about looking at this work too, because of all this current tension that's like manufactured between China and the United States, and how we frame like the protests and the pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong, and also how we think about Taiwan and its relationship and like escalation of tension with China and like that whole region. So it is worrying, because most of my family still lives in Taiwan, so I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen, because I think President Xi is like fairly confident in doing whatever he wants. So
the U.S. just sold like $1 billion worth of weapons to take out like half their army, right?
Yeah, they sold a ton of weapons to the Taiwanese government. So
that's crazy. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I don't really have that much to say about it because it's kind of hard to from here.
Thanks, Mike. Michael, and I just wonder, like, you had a show here not like a couple of years ago, I want to say, and I just wondered, and that was a sculptural installation, and I just wonder how a work like this, which is kind of more politically pronounced, informs this some of your newer, more recent work, which is kind of more whimsical. It uses shoes, cut up shoes, and like shoelaces and old TVs and things like that.
Yeah, so usually like most of my work is kind of backgrounded, or like the foundation is like a lot of reading and research. So after I had moved out of this period of reading about all of these histories, especially like the Cultural Revolution or like 228 in Taiwan, I started looking more into like, I guess, things that are closer to home, as you can say, like growing up in the suburbs of Orange County, what that means, like being Taiwanese American, stuff like that. And then that inevitably led to like more personal introspection about my memories and stuff. So that's probably where the shift went from like more of these like painterly pieces into sculptures and ready-mades, and like appropriating like found material and ephemera from like my parents' house in Irvine. So, but I'd say I was listening to something recently and someone was talking about like Asian American studies, and like I went to art school, so I don't have any like formal education in Asian American studies, but that the person I was listening to said something really interesting about how like Asian American studies isn't necessarily like the full story unless you're like studying Asia as well. So I guess using that I just listened to, I thought that was really interesting. And I think all of this like prior research about China and Taiwan is like obviously like wrapped up in my heritage. So I think that does inform the new work in a sense, but it's just not like so on the nose, you can say, where I'm like using images directly from that history. But now I'm more focused like on my family and how they're situated in that context, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I would invite everybody here to just Google Michael Chang, and I think you can find some of his exhibits at the Irvine Fine Arts Center. Is that right? Most recently?
Yeah, that was in March.
Okay, yeah.
Ended in March, yeah.
Okay, yeah, and that was a collaboration with Susan Lin, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Michael.
No problem.
Thank you. All right. Anne Phong. I'd like to introduce Anne Phong. And I just wonder, Anne, in your work, what is the kind of order, or is there an order between your process and your idea?
I think the idea comes first, but first of all, may I say something about Lydia? Yeah, I met her in the 1993. During that time, she had some like curating process. So I brought in some of my painting, like 5 feet by 7 feet, and I carried it all the way to the Little Tokyo and showed to her. And then that's how we make friends. Since that time on, and every time when the Artcore held some moving auction, and I always jump in as one of the volunteers. So I stayed with Lydia for many years till now. Looking back, it's a pretty long process, and I appreciate this part. Lydia have open arm to almost everybody. When you come to her and then you have open hand, and she will shake your hand and she hug you back. That's how I look at her. That's why she make a lot of friends. I mean, around the world, not just in California, but almost everywhere. If you reach to her, she reach back to you. So we look back that and looking at for more than 30 years of the gallery. She made more than 2,000 artist friends. That's how I look at her, because I've been working with her for a while. I volunteer for her. So looking back all this, I really appreciate. I think all of us right here, right now on this meeting, sometime in your life you have met Lydia before, and you know she's pretty stubborn, but at the same time she has a pretty open heart. You cannot talk back to her. When you talk back to her, she talk back to you.
Exactly.
But, yeah, so we have those kind of relationship with her until today. I still feel that. So I look back to my work every time in the Artcore gallery opening, and she always pull me to one side and ask me to do critique, because I teach drawing and painting at Cal Poly Pomona. So we talk, and I said, this one I like, she said that one she like, and then we critique, we say, how come I like this one? And then sometimes we agree, sometimes we just don't agree, but pretty honest way. So this is the story of me and Lydia. And about my works, because I teach far away from my house. So with the traffic, driving from home to work or driving from work, come back home is more than 45 minutes. And that's the time when I'm in my car, and without music, anything, my brain start moving around with all the idea coming out. And those ideas like a dream. So when I go home, I catch that dream. So if I don't catch the dream, the next dream coming up, and I have another idea. So, but in general, all these ideas come back to me as an environment. I grew up in Vietnam and come to America. I moved from Vietnam, and then I lived in Malaysia for a while, and then to Thailand, Philippines for a while before I come to America. So all those, I look back, I see like different countries have different way of living, and that environment give me some idea. And when in America is so rich. We are so rich that every time we use something, we can dump it right away. That's how I look at a party. You go to a big party, you enjoy it, and then the next moment you dump all the dishes, all the plastic thing. But And then we say, oh, it's okay because the next day the trash can come, the trash man come over and clean up all the trash. But when you never think, how far can the trash go after that? It's not in our house anymore, but it would be somewhere on earth. So I use that as the theme for my painting. So in this painting on the left side, I put a lot of grocery bag and I glue onto my painting. And there's a trash truck on the left side, the right side like circle of life. With a lot of nature, like flower inside. If we don't value the nature might go away, like into the dark hole. So that's the concept of this piece. I did it so big, so a lot of time I have to cut it into 3 different sections so I can carry it easier. It can fit into my car easily that way. So I look at it that way. And when I need to travel, I can take out from the stretcher frame and I just use it as a hang them up on the wall so I can travel with me with my painting. I think that's it. Huh?
So pretty.
I love the little dump truck in there, and it's awesome.
Oh,
Thank you. Yeah.
So
Looks like a
cute.
bird too.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a little bird flying too. Yes.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So this is how we look at life in the 21st century. If we don't care, the trash won't go away. They're still there, but we just push it aside. It's just somewhere on earth. Sometimes some other people have to take it, but we just we keep our house clean. I feel it in a lot of places. So I use that as a theme in my work.
does the big dark piece represent your friend Lydia?
Not really. No, the big dark piece is just like how I look at life. Yeah, like the circle of life. Yeah.
What about the light piece to the left, top left of it?
You mean this one?
Yeah, the left of that circle on the left. It's like grayish white. Does it mean anything?
No, it doesn't mean anything. It's just because the trash can area is dirty. So I have some, and I put the grocery bag is so light, so I need some dark shade around it to show the trash bag.
Oh.
So my work is I work with acrylic. Acrylic have that magic. You can glue anything on top because it's plastic anyway. So I use that a lot in my painting. So to create surface, either I put very thick paint or I add thing on top of it. I can add like grocery bag or a paper or object even onto the canvas and they won't come off.
Do you add anything to the paint?
Yeah, except my body, but I add everything. Yeah, like this one, I add a lot of found object, a lot of plastic flower and everything to it to talk about the nature in magic. When the real flower go away, we only see the fake thing on earth.
Mm.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Beautiful. Thanks, Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Thank you.
And
Hi, Beanie. You were hidden from my screen for a minute.
There, I was on mute. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Beanie.
Hi, Beanie.
And you know I love you.
Oh,
Your work.
I love you too.
And everyone else. Sorry, not to exclude everyone. Just
I love everybody.
That's right.
Liang, are you here? I'm gonna unmute you there. Hey, can you hear us, Liang? Hi, Liang, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, there we go.
Do you want me to talk about this work, or do you want me to follow any directions?
I only just wanted to make a quick comment that this piece was created more recently, and it was quite a departure from a lot of your works, and I think they're mostly wall works. And so, yeah, I would just would like to ask you how like what precipitated this piece.
This work was made right before the pandemic start. So this is a setting of 4 people having hot pot, and hot pot is originated from Sichuan and spread quickly throughout the entire country, entire China. And it brings up the idea of unity and separation. It's like you have different kinds of food. They are different in taste, texture, and cooking time. But when you dip the food into the broth, they came out the similar flavor. And then when you put the cooked food into your dipping sauce, it becomes unique again. So it is very interesting to me that what we have gone through this year is also a version of being separated and holding together. Hot pot is something I came to the US 8-9 years ago for school, and I have a lot of friends who are also from China. And every time when we go out, we usually end up with having some Chinese food together. And hot pot is our first choice always. And I think this is a food that brings us together. We are from different part of China, but we can sit down and have the same food, and everyone can accept it, everyone can like it. But since the pandemic started, we have no chance to go out and sit together to have dinner together. But it is how to say that, it becomes the only thing that we can think about when we trying to keep in touch with each other, or go out and hang out together. So I think it is very different than what we were before the pandemic. And now it is like, it's more like a normal for us now. Like everyone staying at home, or eating our own food. Yeah.
Aw.
Sounds like a very sentimental piece.
Yeah, when I made this work, I didn't think about the separation part of this food. But when the pandemic started, I feel like this work might be the most appropriate work to show at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Very talented.
Looks like the weather's nice where you are too. Better watch out, you'll get a sunburn.
Well, I miss the normal life. I want to go back to the beach, enjoy the sunshine.
Right. Imitation outdoors.
And I have this feeling of a mask on.
What did you make that out of?
They are ceramics.
Oh, ceramics. Wow. Very cool.
Very nice.
Thank you.
We have where Artcore is, I'm sure you know. Have you been to Artcore, of course, right? Physically.
Yeah.
All the
Yeah,
Japanese.
I have one piece showed last year in Artcore, but it was a black and white wall piece, ceramic painting.
Yeah, I always love the Japanese restaurants with their plastic food in the window that never spoils. It's amazing. This is just like that. It's imitation life. It's good. Permanent sustenance. Nice work.
Thank you.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for coming out And this show is actually up for 2 more weeks through the 30th of November. Also, just, yeah, get in touch if you reach out if you are an artist and want to show us your work or, do a studio visit. And yeah, I really, thanks, for coming out again. And this is the Lydia Takeshita Legacy Series exhibit. It's the first exhibit that we have done. And it's, after a long period of just evaluating what we wanted to do going forward, and we are very excited to keep this going. And we'll be back on I think December 7th with a new group, and it'll be series 2. So thanks again, and reach out if you want to come make an appointment and see the show in person. And just also, connect with us on Instagram and let us know what you need. And thanks again. And thanks to all the artists. And I'll look forward to, working with you and being in touch.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Renee.
Pranay.
Thanks, Renee.
Yes, it
Yeah,
was a good idea.
very good, very good. Yeah.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Green light now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
All right. Hey, Nancy.
Hi, Renee. Good job. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Amy.
Everything worked out okay. Everybody got in, I guess.
Yeah, I was so not sure how that was going to go with with all the technicalities
I know.
of
People
doing
were
this.
calling me and wanting to know what to do. So thank you for reaching out to them and helping all of them. I think they all either got in or are going to watch a replay.
Yeah, definitely. I will, I have a recording and I'll see just how to make that a link, something people can watch.
Okay.
So yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good job. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Renee.
Thanks, Amy.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you so much for doing this. This was really great. It was so intimate and so great to just hear from each of the artists. Just makes me really wish we could be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this new format, and I think implicit in this new format is the sense that we can't be together, and it almost makes it more purposeful and meaningful to actually show up for something that, on a medium where we're physically disconnected. And I think we'll look back at this moment in time like very
nostalgically.
Yeah. Even though things have really there's a paradigm shift, I think. Yeah, we will also kind of look back at this and appreciate, I think, what it means to be able to physically go places and be with each other. And I really do appreciate you coming too.
Even if we don't love it, and if we don't understand what it means right now to be making artwork during a COVID time, it's going to be really important to have some record of how artists survived and what they were thinking and what they were doing during this time. There will be a time when it's looking back, when it happened. So, and it's really affecting everybody. It's affecting artists of all kinds. Performance artists, I think, are especially reactive, and you know, and it makes a big difference in terms of the kind of art that you can only see in a theater or something like that. And visual artists are more used to working by themselves in studios, but it's still a completely different process, and it's a completely different way of communicating. And so anyway, so I just think it's going to be really important to document what's going on in artists' heads, and documenting what's being shown and what kind of work is coming out, so that when we look back in a few years from now, it'll be really obvious. Like history always is really clear in the past.
That's a really great point. That really helps us to connect to a larger moment, you know, that's shared, and just kind of figure out what this really is, and what, you know, and that's seems to me what you just said is kind of the essence of culture.
Yeah. So thank you for doing this. Thank you for persisting and having this incredible exhibit. It's really, really, really something. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks so much for coming.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeannie.
There'll be more.
Great. All right. Good night, everybody.
Okay, good night.
Good night.